Let's go ahead and restart this meeting for the benefit of it. It is now 9:04, February 13th, 2023. We're at the Chambers Conference Room at Alvarado Square. This is the Bernalillo County Code of Conduct Review Board. Let's begin with roll call. Do we have District 1 member Paul Chavez? Mr. Chavez informed us he does not have good reception. He might be joining later, but let's proceed. District 2.
Chuck McCune, present.
Thank you, Chuck. District 3.
Martha Brown, present.
Do we have a District 3 alternate on the line?
Yes, Jenny Lusk.
Thank you, ma'am. District 5, I'm Kevin Sanders, Vice Chair, Presiding Officer today. Oh, excuse me. District 4, Mr. Doucette, his absence is excused today. Let's move on to action item approval of the agenda. Has everyone had a chance to look at that? We have a motion to approve. Second. All those in favor? Aye. The agenda is approved. Moving on to the minutes from January 31st. Have we all had a chance to take a look at that?
Yeah.
We have a motion to approve those minutes. Second. All those in favor? Aye. That item passes. Next up, we have the final determination on sworn complaint SC2023-001, Carl L. Peterson v. Commissioner Charlene Piscotti. Final order has been issued in that matter on February 8th, so there's nothing further at this time. Moving on to the next action item, we have a preliminary hearing for sworn complaint 2023-001, Quezada v. Barboa. Do we have the complainant and respondent present?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. This is Jacob Candelaria, attorney for Commissioner Quezada, who's also present with us in the call.
Thank you, Mr. Candelaria. Do we have respondent on the line?
Good morning. My name is Adrienne Barboa, Bernalillo County Commissioner for District 3. I am on the line.
Okay, thank you. Counselor, we're going to give you 15 minutes to present complainant's statement. We have sworn complaint from Mr. Quezada, so I'll go ahead and swear him into the record now, but if he would like his attorney to speak for him for the presentation, that would be fine. But Mr. Quezada, are you with us? Can you please raise your right hand?
Yes.
Ms. Barboa, can you swear in at the same time? Let's, in the matter of SC2023-001. Do you swear to tell the truth to the best of your ability in all matters before this proceeding today?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we have affirmative responses from both complainant and respondent. Mr. Candelaria, would you like to proceed now?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the members of the committee for scheduling this for today. My name is Jacob Candelaria, and I'll be handling the presentation of the sworn complaint that has been filed by my client, Stephen Michael Quezada, who is also a member of the Bernalillo County Commission. This complaint alleges that Commissioner Adrienne Barboa violated various sections of the Bernalillo Code of Conduct in connection with her vote on a appointment to fill a vacancy in House District 16. Commissioner Barboa cast a vote on that question on or about January 9th, 2023. At the time that Commissioner Barboa made this vote, she was and remains a registered lobbyist with the New Mexico Secretary of State. Ms. Barboa is registered for the 2023 session as a lobbyist on behalf of at least two private entities. The first is Forward Together, which I understand is a 501c3. She is also a registered lobbyist for Forward Together Action, which I understand is a 501c4 organization which can engage in legislative advocacy. Commissioner Barboa did not disclose this conflict of interest prior to casting her vote to fill a vacancy in the office of House District 16. As Commissioner Quesada has laid out in the sworn complaint, Ms. Barboa is paid money to lobby the state legislature on behalf of her employer. Upon information and belief, Ms. Barboa's interests in continued employment, advancement in employment, and compensation are tied to her success in lobbying the state legislature on behalf of her clients. Ms. Barboa thus has a substantial financial interest, a direct financial interest, in making an appointment to the state legislature that will benefit her clients' interests and thus her own personal financial interests. It is unlikely, members of the committee, that Ms. Barboa would vote for a person to fill a legislative vacancy who does not agree with her client's position on public policy issues. And it's important to note that not all members of the community agree with the issues advanced by her clients. My client contends that this is a violation of County Code of Conduct 2130G. Ms. Barboa should have disclosed her conflict of interest prior to voting on the vacancy to fill House District 16. She did not do so, thus that constitutes a violation. Pursuant to the Code of Conduct, Ms. Barboa is also required to recuse herself from any vote on which she has a conflict of interest. Looking to the code, a conflict of interest is defined as any direct financial or, quote, substantial interest. When the facts alleged in this complaint are considered true, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, the allegations herein, at the very least, rise to a level of demonstrating a violation of the Code of Conduct that warrants a formal hearing. I believe in public settings, Commissioner Barboa has said that she did not have a conflict of interest because she lobbies, quote, on behalf of the people and not corporate interests. I think it's important for this commission, this board, to know at the onset that the Bernalillo County's rules, the Code of Conduct, and particularly the rule prohibiting conflicts of interest, the rule requiring disclosure of potential conflicts, and the rule which requires commissioners to recuse themselves makes no distinction based upon the viewpoint that a commissioner is lobbying or advancing. As I mentioned, while Commissioner Barboa may think that she lobbies on behalf of all the people, she does not. There are great numbers, great percentages of our community who do not agree with the issues advanced by Ms. Barboa's employers. It is a special interest like any other. So we believe, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, that when the facts alleged in this complaint are taken as true, that it sets forth a prima facie case for violation of the Bernalillo Code of Conduct, specifically 2-130G. My client would ask that this matter proceed to a formal hearing for presentation of evidence. Thank you very much.
Hello, Ms. Barboa, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, at this time, you can have 15 minutes to respond, followed by 5-minute rebuttal by complainant. Your time begins.
Thank you, members of the board, Code of Conduct Board. My name is Adrienne Barboa. I'm Bernalillo County Commissioner for District 3 and stand by the way I served as chair last year, and would like to say I'm present and respect the Board of Conduct's process, and will follow process moving forward set by Code of Conduct Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barboa. Does that conclude your statement?
That does complete my statement.
Mr. Candelaria, do you have anything you would like to offer in rebuttal?
No, I don't believe a rebuttal is necessary. I don't believe that respondent has set forth any evidence, facts that would question the prima facie case set forth by my client, and we would ask that this matter proceed to formal hearing.
Thank you, Counselor. At this time, I'm going to move that we enter closed session pursuant to NMSA Section 10-15-1. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Let's go off the record here.
Excuse me. I'm unable to hear the discussion as an alternate. Does that matter? Hello, this is Jenny. I've just asked for them to let me hear. Okay. Excuse me, I apologize for interrupting again, but I really cannot hear. There's no point in my being in the meeting if I cannot hear the discussion.
Hi, Jenny, this is Veronica. I sent an email to you with a call-in number.
I've got it now. I can hear you.
Okay, we don't want the whole meeting to hear us, so we're on a separate line. But if you call into the number I sent on your email
Okay.
and mute yourself here, you can join us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can hear it.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back on the record in the matter of SC 2023-001, Quezada v. Barboa. The time is 9:59. Let the minutes reflect that the matters discussed in the closed meeting were limited only to those specified in the motion or notice for closure, and no action was taken. At this time, the board is going to announce its decision, and a written order will follow. Taking the allegations in the complaint as true, the board dismisses the complaint, finding there's been no demonstration of financial interest on the part of respondent. Taking as true the allegations of the appearance of propriety, this board dismisses and will offer an advisory opinion on proper disclosure for ongoing conflicts of interest.
Mr. Vice Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I move that we dismiss the complaint. And, okay, yeah, so moved.
So moved. Do I have a second? Having a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion to dismiss the complaint carries unanimously. Let's now move on to the second complaint, SC 2023-002, Quezada v. O'Malley. Let's go ahead and have the same procedure, 15 minutes for both complainant and respondent, followed by 5 minutes of rebuttal for complainant. Do we have the parties in attendance?
Yes, you do.
Mrs. O'Malley, can you hear us?
I can.
Thank you, Mrs. O'Malley. Mr. Quezada, Mrs. O'Malley, I'd like to swear you both in at this time. If you can raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the entire truth to the best of your ability in all matters in this proceeding today?
I do.
Mr. Quezada, are you present?
I do.
Okay, hearing affirmative responses from both parties. Mr. Quezada, I see you're represented by counsel. Counselor, you may proceed at this time if you so choose.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The facts of this complaint are very simple and straightforward. The Bernalillo County Commission had a meeting on October 24th, 2022. At the conclusion of that meeting and in the presence of members of the public, county employees, and other elected officials, then County Commissioner Debbie O'Malley called then County Commissioner Charlene Piscotti a bitch. This conduct is abusive and makes the County Commission an unsafe space for women. Ms. O'Malley's conduct is inexcusable and violates Bernalillo County Code of Conduct, Section 2-128, which states in relevant part, public servants have the common obligation of serving the public. In performing their duties, public servants shall treat the public and each other with respect, concern, and responsiveness. recognizing that their common goal of exceptional public service can only be achieved by working together. Ms. O'Malley disrespected Ms. Piscotti, a woman, her office, her constituents, and the county commission by her outrageous and inexcusable conduct. On the same day, moments after Ms. O'Malley called another commissioner a bitch in public, Ms. O'Malley told a then county employee, Joe Noriega, to shut up after Mr. Noriega asked Ms. O'Malley to stop swearing at Commissioner Piscotti. No county commissioner should ever treat a county employee with such disrespect. Ms. O'Malley's abusive conduct towards a county employee likewise constitutes a clear violation of Section 2-128. Petitioner in this case, Mr. Chairman, due to the fact there's no reasonable or actual factual dispute on what happened on October 24th, 2022. It's been covered widely in the press. Commissioner Benson in the press stated that he heard Ms. O'Malley make these statements. We believe that this is a case, Mr. Chairman, where the board does not need to proceed to formal hearing. The board can enter a letter of censure against Ms. O'Malley for this conduct. Do not believe that any more fact-finding is necessary. Thank you.
Mrs. O'Malley, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you, Counselor. Mrs. O'Malley, you have a few minutes, 15 to be specific, if you'd like to present your side of the story at this time.
Thank you, I will. Mr. Chair and members of the board, good morning. Commissioner Quesada has alleged that I violated Code Section 2-128 because of statements I allegedly made after adjournment of a commission meeting on October 25th, 2022. For the record, the submission of complaint incorrectly states that the commission meeting was held on October 24th, 2022. Commissioner Quesada cited that in his complaint, one part of Code 2-128, but misleadingly omitted a critical part of that provision that states, quote, disputes that arise among public servants shall be resolved at the lowest possible level, keeping in mind that public money spent on resolving these disputes is money not spent on important public needs, unquote. Commissioner Quesada also failed to mention a material fact that this matter has already been resolved to the apparent satisfaction of the complainants since he voted for the resolution. Following the October 25th meeting on November 15th, 2022, the Commission adopted Administrative Resolution AR 2022-129, which was sponsored by then Commissioner Charlie Piscotti, censuring me for violation of Code 2-128 and 2-130A2, based on the same statements alleged in the Commissioner Quesada's complaint. I recused myself from that vote, and the complainant voted in favor of the censure. I also apologize for my behavior. If Commissioner Quesada had intended to file a complaint with this board, he should have stated so during that deliberation and voted against the resolution. That censure specifically addressed as one of the reasons for the resolution that Code 2-128 states that, quote, disputes among public servants be resolved at the lowest level possible to prevent public resources from being spent on resolving such conflicts. Bringing the same issue to a county board utilizing county staff time and resources is a contradiction of preventing public resources from being spent on resolving these conflicts. In that same vein, bringing a formal board complaint because of an alleged statement telling someone to, quote, shut up, unquote, is both frivolous, harassing, and a waste of public resources. Again, if Commissioner Casada had found that alleged statement to be worthy of censure, he would have raised it in the administrative resolution. In sum, pursuant to this board's rule section 3-B1D, this complaint should be dismissed on the following grounds. The complaint was brought up for the purpose of harassment. The allegation that I told someone to quote, unquote, shut up does not rise to a level of violating the code of conduct, and the subject of this complaint has become moot. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the board.
Thank you, Mrs. O'Malley. Mr. Candelaria, you have 5 minutes for rebuttal.
Mr. Chairman, there's no provision that I'm aware of in this board's rules that says that this board's relief or the relief this board can provide is exclusive to any other forums. The Bernalillo County Commission was right to censure Ms. O'Malley, who today did not apologize or take any accountability for her actions. None. Zero. Ms. O'Malley thinks she's above the rules. They don't apply to her. The Bernalillo County Commission cannot impose a civil fine, which is something this board can do. So there is nothing in either this board rule or the county commission rules that I understand, and none have been cited today, which support this argument that the remedies afforded by the county commission are exclusive, such that my client cannot bring a complaint before this board. This board has jurisdiction to adjudicate this complaint and award additional remedies that the Bernalillo County Commission cannot, such as a civil fine. Secondly, the argument that an elected official in a public meeting can tell a county employee to shut up in anger and have no accountability is concerning at the very least. This is the definition of abusive behavior, of people who are elected to office, who, because they feel entitled by their role, can treat staff members in a way that I've never seen an elected official treat a member of their staff or a member of the public. The allegation by Ms. O'Malley that my client strategically or in bad faith somehow brought this complaint as retaliation, there's no evidence of that, and it wouldn't be the first time that I've heard a person who is subject to a complaint in any forum try to make the issue about the person bringing the complaint and alleging that it's unfair, it's retaliatory. But there's no dispute about the facts here, Mr. Chairman. If this board believes that a county commissioner can act in this way without any accountability, that's fine. But I think the public deserves to know what position this board will take on the conduct that Ms. O'Malley has neither denied, but I think what's important for this board to know is never taken accountability for, has never apologized. Even today says that these are alleged statements. Somebody who is truly remorseful is not going to say alleged statements, but own up to what they did. Ms. O'Malley's not owned up to what she did. It's everyone else's fault. Procedurally, it's unfair. But the reality is the facts are the facts, and you can see her face now. This is not someone who respects the right of people to bring these complaints, and we ask that the board, in conclusion, simply enter a public censure and award and require Ms. O'Malley to pay a civil fine to send a very clear message that members of the public will not be treated this way by elected officials, and that women will not be called the word Ms. O'Malley called Commissioner Piscotti without accountability. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The board tends to agree with you that an evidentiary hearing is not necessary on this matter. There seems to be no material dispute of fact. Mr. Candelaria, respondent alleges that this complaint is frivolous. Can you please reiterate the relief you're asking of this board and why the remedy sought by resolution is inadequate? In other words, how is this a proper use of this forum?
I'm sort of flabbergasted that this question is even being asked. This is such a clear violation of the code of conduct that this is certainly the appropriate forum. To be clear, my client is asking for a letter of censure as well as a civil fine. The Bernalillo County Board of County Commissioners does not have the power or jurisdiction to award a civil fine. That is only something, to my understanding, this board can do. So this board is a proper forum for these complaints. I will also note, respondent has produced no evidence that this is a frivolous or retaliatory complaint. She said what she said. The rules say what they say.
Counselor, I'm going to stop you there. That argument is well taken. I'm going to move at this time to enter closed session for purposes of deliberation in the matter of sworn complaint 2023-002.
Second.
Second, all those in favor? Aye. Carries unanimously. You can go off the record. Okay, we're back on the record. The time is now 10:31. Let the minutes reflect that the matters discussed in the closed meeting were limited only to those specified in the motion or notice for closure, and no action was taken. At this time, the board is going to rule that the board does have jurisdiction over these complaints. At this time, the board is going to dismiss the first part of the complaint with respect to the profane and incendiary language between commissioners. We find that the resolution at the commission level adequately addresses that conduct. But at the same time, this complaint is not frivolous. The matter that's more concerning to the board is the conduct with respect to Mr. Noriega, the power imbalance between commissioners and employees lends itself to a more serious violation. While disagreements between commissioners are to be expected, decorum should be maintained at all times. This board is going to issue an order with respect to commissioner conduct towards employees. Do we have a motion?
So move, Martha Brown, District 3.
Do we have a second? Chuck McCune. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Let the record reflect that District 3, Member Brown, District 2, Member McCune, and District 5, Member Sanders concur in agreement. Do we have a motion to adjourn at this time? Chuck McCune, so moved.
Martha Brown, second.
All those in favor? Aye. The motion carries at this time. The meeting is adjourned. It is 10:33.